So this is the jig I use for the blacker leg indent, this detail right here. This is one of the first jigs I made when I started doing Greene and Greene years and years and years ago. And it stayed like this for a long time. Let's go through the anatomy of the jig a little bit. Here's the top where the plunge router goes on, like that. Bit fits through this opening. Let's turn it over. These pieces capture the leg, the stock. Down here, there's a stop that registers the leg for that direction down. And right here is what I call the riser block. That holds the leg at an angle, so when it's routed from the top, the route ramps in and creates that ramp. Now, years ago, too, I had a employee who made this. It's an adjustable one. It fits, oops, let's go here. This one, but it will also accommodate that one. So my employee prompted me to use his idea to make one that I routed out on the CNC. This is the one I will use in the demo today. So I set the router up with a 1-inch collar, 1/2-inch bit. The bit is down cut in mill. So let's continue to set this guy up. Stock goes in here, stops against there. The riser block, again, will hold it at an angle. And this assembly goes into the vise. Now, the problem that sometimes arises is the stock slips a little bit. So you got to make sure that when you put it in there, it hasn't slipped down. Once you've got that, then it's time to set the depth of cut. So down at this end is where, down at the bottom of the leg, that's the deepest part of the cut. And I want to go about, heavy 16th, light 8th, about 3/32, which is about 0.9375. So with the bit bottomed out at that end, I set this guy in here, and that's my little memory stick. That should set the depth of cut. So with it raised up, I'm going to go to this end. It should not be cutting anything at this end here. And that's where I'm going to lower it down all the way till it hits the stop. Put in my hearing protection, and I'm going to start routing from this end and just keep going around until I've cleaned out everything in the middle and I've got the route done. Let's go ahead and do it. Now, a caution here. Too many times in classes, I've had people leave the router running and not let it retract all the way back up and pull it out, and the bit hits here and everything goes crazy and it's freak out time. Don't do that. Make sure the bit is stopped and retracted all the way before you try to pull the router out of there. So now it's just a matter of going through this 3 more times to get all 4 sides. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so we've got the ramping all the way around. Now, tomorrow I will do another video, and this is why I did this one, is I want to try out the shaping of this on my new flap wheel over there, Mac Mop. So this is an experiment. Blacker leg indent detail finished. This is what I've just routed out, that ramp in on the detail. Next I will take it over to the disc sander and do that little pull in you see right here. And from there I'm going to take it over here and see what happens. I doubt if I get the results I want right up here. I think I'm going to have to go back over to the bench and do some sanding and stuff here first. But I'm hoping that this allows me to do less sanding at the bench and finishing off here. We'll see. Let's get started. 100 grit on the disc sander. Okay, let's see what we can do over at the Mac Mop. Okay, so since the last segment and this segment, I had a learning experience offline. That learning experience was, if you don't push the little red button, it won't record. So I made sure I pushed the little red button this time. And that is why you see a finished leg indent detail on this end, and one that was right at the same point where we left off with the last segment on this end. But the good thing is I've learned something in between. And what I learned since then is that I want to come right in here and this ramp in right here, sand right here, because the flap wheel, the Mac Mop doesn't do a good job right in there. I'm going to do that by hand. And I'm going to go ahead and round these over here by hand. And then when I go over there, I'm going to get this sanded up to 150. And go over there, and at 240, it'll finish it off. The Mac Mop performed a lot better than I anticipated. Okay, let's go back over to the buffing wheel and the Mac Mop. I think at 240 it's going to finish this guy up real nice. So this is a 240 Mac Mop. It's a narrower one. I didn't buy the wider one. I'm still experimenting, but I am going to go back and buy the wider 240 for this. I think it might work better. But this will get the job done. And I'm going to start at about 900 RPM. And I might go up. I'm still experimenting with all this. Let's go up to actually go up to 1100. What I like is I can go like that and it's not grabby. If you were doing that at 1800, it'd be dangerous. It'd throw it out of your hand. And you notice what I'm doing right here. This is, if you've taken my classes, you know where these three lines meet. That's where kind of a wear spot. You know, that's like the weather has eroded that high spot. And I'm taking a little more off at those corners. Now also, I didn't mention it over there at the bench, but I didn't take any, I routed a little deeper, and I didn't round this over a little bit, thinking maybe I could get by with just the Mac Mop, but I think I'm going to have to go back over to the bench and just touch that just a hair right in there. It's leaving a sharp line that I don't really want, but it's getting pretty good. Let me I'm going to, for some of this, I'm going to try speeding it up a bit more. There's 15. Okay, so I think I might go back over to the bench. I won't do this on the video, but just touch up some of these places where I think the round over isn't as good as I thought, and maybe just ease these edges in here a little bit. But the Mac Mop did it pretty good, and I do need to experiment still with RPM and maybe even grit a little bit. But it shows promise. And like I said, if anyone has experience with this setup, I would love to hear about it. I'm not settled on any one way of using this yet. I'm still experimenting.